Tairawhiti, the East Coast. A paradise of largely untouched landscapes, rugged cliffs, sandy beaches. And it's a place reliant on the water that surrounds it.
This is our playground, it's also our kapata kai. Our moana is really important to us.
Of particular importance to coastal communities like Whangara, where the marae chairperson Min Veti says the ocean doesn't just play a role now, but has for generations.
It is in our history, part of our makeup, having our tipuna paikea's blood running through our veins.
But with the idyllic isolation comes undeniable danger for whānau living here. They're at the mercy of Mother Nature. It's a laid-back life here along the East Coast. Many of the towns have seen better days, but there's a rich history. It's home to tens of thousands of people dotted in small communities right along the water's edge. It has the highest percentage of Māori than any part of the country. But the region is also home to the Hikurangi subduction zone. Hidden from plain sight, it's a tectonic plate 100 kilometres off the coast.
This pretty much parallels the East Coast all the way down to Wellington.
Ben Green is the Tairawhiti Civil Defence Group Manager.
We've got very small, isolated settlements, and the impact on these will be quite major.
Much of his job is preparing the community for the big one.
The updated science from last year with GNS published for a 25% chance of a significant fracture in the next 50 years, so that's quite considerable odds for that.
The reality is, it's not an if, but when. And when a major earthquake strikes the Hikurangi Trench, it could be a matter of minutes before a major tsunami hits the coast. In March 2021, a small tsunami was spotted in bays along the coast after an 8.1 magnitude quake struck the Kermadec Islands.
What it highlighted really is how tenuous it is in the region, both from the geography and the planning ability to actually support particularly our rural and remote communities.
So that's exactly what Ben and the Civil Defence team have been doing. Sparked by that event, they've been planning an emergency response for remote small East Coast settlements, ensuring they have the resources to survive a major earthquake and tsunami until help arrives.
As a region, planning for resilience means that we need to be developing that self-reliance on having the resources that can keep us sorted for the first 2 weeks. You know, there's no expectation of grey warships and swarms of helicopters turning up within the first 72 hours of this sort of thing.
Civil Defence has partnered with Te Puni Kōkiri and local iwi like Ngāti Porou to create the Marae Resilience and Emergency Preparedness Project.
God forbid we have a real major emergency like a tsunami, which then wipes most of the roads or whatever. But that will allow whānau to survive at least 3 or 4 days on their own. Because if there's something significant happens, everybody else will be busy. You just need somewhere for them to hunker down and be able to look after themselves.
Over the next few months, 12 of these emergency pods or shipping containers will be placed at some higher ground marae or locations. Inside these pods will be equipment critical to their survival, including a power generator, communication radios, shelter tents and a water treatment unit to make and store their own clean water. Te Runanganui o Ngāti Porou Chief Executive George Reedy says the iwi has ensured that there'll also be enough non-perishable food to feed 100 people, as well as a medical kit.
It comes back to their ability to look after themselves. They are resilient, but resilience can only take you so far. Beyond that, we do need the ability to keep the kids warm, the old people warm, the families safe. That's what this is about. It's just security for those people so that they're not left out trying to wander. What can I do in an emergency?
The emergency pods are designed to assist communities in their darkest days, the most catastrophic of natural disasters. This is the rohi that doesn't need reminding of the havoc Mother Nature can wreak. Time and time again, the region has borne the brunt of the effects of climate change, Just last month, it was Cyclone Hale. Having one of the emergency shelters on hand during a weather event like that could prove very useful, if not potentially life-saving.
I'm quite confident that most of our communities now have a greater appreciation of the potential risks. COVID taught us all a valuable lesson that something we think could never happen has happened.
Both the iwi and the civil defence teams are keen to take up every opportunity to introduce Tairawhiti locals to the emergency pods.
Yeah. You might have to go and do a bit of a roadshow around some of the whānau with it.
Pāwars, Ngāti Porou's Intimirai Sporting Festival has been running for 24 years and a perfect venue to showcase them.
Fabric on these is durable, so that it was stored for 20 years.
It's the first time the emergency kits have been shown to the East Coast community. Ben and his team demonstrating how the kit works to whānau.
That's a water storage tank. Okay. And we've got a water filter unit that'll be feeding into that.
These pods are a potential lifeline for cut-off communities, devised by its people to help their people, giving those living closest to potential threats peace of mind.
At least if we know that we are prepared and we have plans, we feel a lot safer. And so, you know, we don't have to panic, knowing that we have resources, we have communication, radios, etc., etc.
You know, it's a case of knowing what the hazards are. It shouldn't change the way we live. You can't handle it, then you don't live here. But to live here means that be aware of it and you plan accordingly for it.
And now with the combination of science, mātauranga Māori, and number 8 wire thinking, Te Tairawhiti and its people are better prepared and resourced for the reality of living along a fault line in this isolated but idyllic paradise.